always have to do that, being the short one in the room. It is an honour actually to be here. I started the Democracy Network. It's been an idea way before I came into post to develop it, but it's a network that is bringing together people and organisations who are passionate and committed to democracy, power and voice across the UK. And we've got some formidable organisations who are part of our steering group and who are on our Council of Reference, including Demos, Unlock Democracy, Electoral Reform Society, Operation Blackvote, community organisers and so many more. But I want to share a couple of words to open about why this matters to me personally. I was the mayoral candidate in the Tees Valley last year. I was up against Ben Houchin. Some of you will know me from that campaign, and it was a really tough campaign. And in fact, my agent described it as, and he's been campaigning for 40 years, the most difficult campaign he'd ever been a part of. Because we were campaigning during a global pandemic, but also in a place that had lost trust and hope in the Labour Party. But for me, the most challenging thing was that the people who most needed change, the families' homes that I visited, with no carpets on their floors or beds in their bedrooms, the young mums who I met who were having to spend a quarter of their wages on taxis to work because they had no decent public transport, because of the young people who were desperate to work but they didn't have the skills and they hadn't managed to finish education. Those people who most needed change, who could most benefit from the sort of policies that I was championing, weren't engaging in politics. They didn't understand it, they didn't get it, and they didn't vote. And I realised what I think I've known for a long time. I used to run charities and I understand that the reason why we don't see the changes that we need is because actually our political system is broken and our democracy is desperately in need of renewal. The people who most need change don't engage with it, but that's not their problem, it's ours. And so I was delighted that after my campaign that I was appointed to this role for the Democracy Network, because I have the ability to champion all the many ideas across the UK and projects that are doing things to change how power works. From the We Right Here project, which is trying to get an act into Parliament for community power so communities can take over empty buildings. Community organisers who are taking over buildings and making them spaces for community again, places that were once disused. The work that you guys are doing with the electoral reform movement, and look what, it's on the agenda, it's going to be voted on in Labour Party conference, and unions who are getting on board with these ideas because people realise that democracy is desperate for something new. And I'm so glad that you're here today. I'm so excited to hear from Andy Burnham and David Lammy, because they are significant figures in the Labour movement and they get this stuff. They get it, and they're going to work tirelessly, and if they don't, we'll make sure that they do, to make sure that power in democracy is on the agenda of the next Labour government. But not only on the agenda, that it is a fundamental principle that when we change, when we rebuild this nation, we rebuild it from the bottom up, and we rebuild it by giving power to every person in the UK, so they can influence those decisions around them. So thank you for this opportunity and to work together with a wonderful Polly Curtis, and welcome to the democracy sector. We're so happy to have you. And I hope that you have a really good conference and connect with some of the other amazing organisations who are doing stuff in this space. Thank you.